Weirdos, boils and ghouls. How are we doing? Excuse the state of me, work has been brutal. Obviously, Sam and Colby, the Conjuring house. My biggest video to date was Sam and Colby in the Conjuring house. And a whole host of other channels have got their thoughts on it, their own guesses, their own opinions, and probably the biggest paranormal thing of 2023. It has been massive. And it's been massive for me, not just in regards to all the negativity and all that. And you know, I've got to expect that they have a younger audience and they think they know how the internet works and all the rest of it. I saw a couple of TikTok people have posted me screenshots of some TikToks and the views on them of people threatening me, and it's like, crack on, have at it. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's content. Now, I've seen the Sam and Colby Reacts video, and I've also seen the video by Jason Hawes. If you don't know who Jason Hawes is, he is the lead investigator of TAPS, Ghost Hunters, you know, one of the OG shows to do with paranormal investigations. And it's a show I loved. And then a little bit of fakery snuck in there. And then over the years, I became aware of more fakery, people being fired from the show for faking, but, you know, it was all a bit, And I've seen his response video. And of course, the man is going to stand up for his daughter. I'd stand up for my daughter. You know, somebody wrongs my daughter or comes at my daughter. There's not a lot I wouldn't do to protect my children. However, if my daughter was caught in a lie, my response would be to protect her, but also to say, you need to come clean. That ain't right. I have, you know, if I was Jason Horsby, I have been a paranormal investigator for X amount of years. I pride myself on being honest and open and legitimate. You need to put this right because people are questioning things that have gone on years and years and years ago. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because it's damaged limitation for the sake of his daughter. Fair enough. Now, there are more and more theories opening up about how this knocking was created, including some sort of contraption in the sock that triggers knocking devices around the Conjuring house, and potentially yes. Or it could just be knuckle popping, joint popping, ankle crunching. Look at the way he stands to the camera, where one foot is always on a shot. He stands very rigid. I am still 100% convinced it is trickery. And when people first started questioning me, I was like, all right, maybe you got a point, maybe I'm wrong. And then that video of him being able to do it 11 years ago on his own just reinforced that I was on to something. And now Sam and Colby have brought out on Sam and Colby Reacts, let's talk about the Conjuring house. And I'll give the guys their props. They tell people they've seen a lot of hate towards debunkers and a lot of negativity, both sides, and they spot on with it. They are absolutely spot on. And that negativity, I'd like to say it needs to stop, but nobody is going to listen to either side. Nobody is going to give a shit. It is all about, if you debunk Sam and Colby, you're evil, and if you're on their side, you're good. And from the debunking community, which for the most part are a lot older, a lot wiser, it's just these kids kicking off. I'm at a point where I almost respect Sam and Colby for the manner in which they've reacted. They've been honest. And in with their honesty, there is a giveaway. They have asked Codi and Satori to do more experiments with them to prove one way or the other. And Codi and Satori have said no. To me, in my opinion, before you all come at me, it's as good as an admission of guilt. At the same point, they may just be saying no, they want a quiet life, they're stepping away from the limelight for a bit because they never expected this to blow up the way it did. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. And I'm pretty sure every channel that's covered this, that's got inflated views. I watched the Sam and Colby thing and they come across really well. Having seen the Side Eye Guys video, I'm fully aware that these guys act nicer than they really are. That video was like, I thought Sam and Colby were really nice guys, but I don't believe the content. There's too much activity all the time. They've been doing this for years. At this point, they should have learned what is normal sounds of a house, what is trickery, what is bullshit, what is real. And they don't. They feed the algorithm with the thumbnails, with the way they speak, and that off-camera stuff that was recorded on CCTV is pretty damning. And the fact that Sam has said, and please go and watch the Side Eye Guys video on this. I'm not going to show any clips of it because that is the Side Eye Guys work. So please go and watch the Side Eye Guys video where he blows the doors open on what Sam and Colby are like when their cameras are not rolling, or or the stuff they edit out. And, you know, they got the police called on them. But go and watch Side Eye Guy. Don't bother with Beardo sent you or any of that. Just go and watch, see the work he does, and appreciate him for what he does. In light of that, in light of tirade that I've had against me, I'm glad this is coming to an end. I'm glad they've had their say. And I'm glad Codi and Satori have gone, we're not playing ball anymore. Because it tells all of the debunkers they were right. Were all of the methods, some of the methods I've seen online for, you know, this is how they did it, some of them are frankly ridiculous. And I worry about things like that, because when you take such wild stabs in the dark, that's when the debunking community comes into question and people can say, hang on, these debunkers are getting this wrong. Now, what I do agree with the Sam and Colby say is, we can't 100% prove it is real. And the debunkers can't 100% prove that it is fake. And they have a point, because, as they rightly say, we are not there, we have not seen it. But through investigating and compiling evidence, and you find a video 11 years old that undoes the narrative of what Codi and Satori were doing, and then the backpedaling and everything, and then I'm not doing this video, we're not coming out with you guys again, that all points me further into the direction of it was fake. Now, was it toe popping? Was it things around the house? Was it just edited in? Was it whatever? I don't think Sam and Colby edited that stuff into the video. But they address things I didn't think they would, like the grandmother's nickname being easy to find online. We've all found it. I've had another 2 Sam and Colby videos recorded that I never released because I was like, A, I don't want to seem like I'm jumping on them and being a toxic bully, and B, there were so many Sam and Colby videos coming out, I was like, what's the point? But with their reaction video, it's like, this is the final part, at least to that Conjuring series. To everyone that has been screaming and shouting at me, go to the Conjuring house, you disbeliever. I would happily go and investigate in the Conjuring house. Do I think that the Conjuring house is not haunted? I don't know. I haven't been there. That was never ever my point. I didn't debunk the Conjuring house. I debunked a video filmed at the Conjuring house, and I found things on people at the Conjuring house. There are friends of mine that have investigated the Conjuring house. They won awards for a documentary on the Conjuring house, and they had experiences there. And I believe those experiences. They are my friends. I trust them. They don't lie to me. So people need to understand the difference between debunking with logic and hateful debunking, because there's a huge difference that I've recently covered. People also need to understand that sometimes, or for the most part, debunking doesn't mean us calling somebody fake. Debunking can be us finding something very natural that the original team missed and has misconstrued as something else. Not every debunking video or every debunker is looking to catch people out faking. If you put all of us debunkers in a room with an audience that know us all quite well, or our content quite well, and we're to say who is the most skeptical of all of you, I'll guarantee you 90% of our audience are all going to point at Mr. Grey. Most people mistake Mr. Grey for a complete skeptic that does not and will not believe. That's not the case. A lot of the debunkers have actually investigated. Some of them are wanting to go out on investigations now. And if you were to ask that same circle of people, or that same group of people, which of the debunkers believes in the paranormal the most, I reckon the majority are all going to point at me, because I conduct quite regular investigations. I promote teams that I believe in. I go to haunted locations. And I don't debunk out of a place of nastiness, toxicity, or trying to disprove the paranormal. I debunk because people faking the paranormal pisses me off. It undoes the work of the really good, decent channels that are trying to do real legitimate work. And all this fake stuff is damaging to them, because either people assume that every channel fakes, or they're like, these teams are crap. Why haven't they not getting any activity? Why are there no demons where these good teams go? Why is it so quiet? Why do they really capture anything? This is boring. It's not boring, it's real. And the reason that a lot of people think it's boring is because they are so accustomed to Ghost Adventures, Most Haunted, Really Haunted, and Yasko, and all of this crap that is all staged, all scripted, all fake, that they drink that in and then they cannot see a real paranormal channel as entertaining. Well, that's on you, not us. That's not on the debunkers if you get your feelings hurt when we point out that could be fake, that could be staged, that could be a torch reflecting off a window, that could be an animal, that could be a raccoon, that's masking. That's not on us. That is on the channel creators. Now, I've done some debunking videos on channels, and they've emailed me or messaged me, and they're like, I think you were right with that. We got that wrong. We've learnt from you. We thank you. We appreciate it. I have had legitimate paranormal channels take me onto their live streams to try and debunk them live. Not debunk them, but to see if I can work out what's going on with things they can't explain. Because they want another pair of eyes that will say, hey, that could be a tape recorder, that could be another person. And that is them exhausting all avenues before they say, okay, that could have been paranormal because that was odd. The reason I get my head up my ass with all these people jumping up and down, screaming, running away, using all of the gizmos and gadgets, and then saying a demon is, none of you have ever proved a thing. Not a thing. None of you have ever even left me questioning if it could possibly be real. None of these big, huge channels. I've never seen it. Because it's all so overblown, and when every thumbnail says demon, and all the thumbnails look the same, it's making a mockery of what the real paranormal investigators do and what I believe in. And people that genuinely believe in the paranormal are starting to roll their eyes at anything that says paranormal now because it's gotten so ridiculous. So, in summary, and this is going to be a very short video, I know, I've literally walked in from work and come straight out. In summary, I do still 100% think that Satori and Cody are fake. And I think Sam and Colby, if they weren't aware of it in the first place, they now are. Their body language, the way... I mean, they were reading a teleprompter, you could see it in their eyes. Not the reflection, but the way they were intent staring. They've got to do a bit of damage control because Cody and Satori could have hurt Sam and Colby's reputation. Now, their reputation to me means nothing because I've never seen them do a legitimate investigation. But to their audience, they are now questioning. And whatever is going on with these other places and whatever is going on with this frankly disgusting behaviour from these bigger YouTubers behind the scenes, being disrespectful to homes, homeowners, house rules, property, and items that they are left to use, etc. That shit needs to stop because that bleeds down into everyone. Stop giving all paranormal channels a bad name, please. In regards to Sam and Colby, now Sam and Colby, they've said in that video, they have seen debunkers' videos, they have watched content, and they still haven't addressed the head that is not coming out of the basement, ex-PLR fans. I went off what you guys are shouting at me, there's a ghost coming out of the basement. It's not the basement. There is a door with it. It could simply have been something as easy as a crew member trying to get out shot. But everyone jumps on ghost. And everyone's like, you're wrong, it's a ghost, it's the crooked neck lady. Sam and Colby have since said that they edit their videos themselves. If they are still editing videos themselves this far in, maybe they got a real passion for it. Or they don't want anyone else seeing the raw footage. Just an idea. But they are talking, a head comes into shot and their camera pans up away from it. They never drew attention to it. They would not have missed that in editing because I didn't miss it viewing. Why did that camera pan up? Possibly because it was just a crew member and because it was a week-long investigation, because memory, because memory cards are easy to fill, because they weren't doing multiple takes, that was the only take they had of that conversation. So they cut away. And, alright, that's just my opinion. Maybe you're right. Maybe they finally captured a real ghost on camera. But I can't believe that, because they kept saying, you know, we're on our own, but there's more and more people turning up. There were so many people inside, outside of that house, all the way through the investigation. Why haven't they, in this video where they're reacting and telling us, all of the viewers, all of the debunkers, etc., in that video where they address debunkers kind of directly, why don't they mention anything about the other stuff that we noticed in that house? It seems to me it's all been deflected now onto Satori and Cody. And yes, I still think they are faking, but I think Sam and Colby have actually used this to their advantage to deflect away from the other things that they have not mentioned, that the rest of us debunkers have called out. I mean, they went to great lengths to debunk, to make it look like they were debunking Cody and Satori. Why buy them shoes? Why not get them to do it barefoot? Rumour is they refuse to do it barefoot. Why? What is in their shoes? If they're not popping their joints, what is in their shoes? Which one of them is faking? Well, it's probably the guy that's been doing it for 11 years. I'm glad this is over. I am really glad this is over. It's taken over YouTube. It's taken over the paranormal on YouTube lately. So every time I go into somebody's live stream, or every time I'm watching somebody's premiere, that's all anyone is talking about. And I understand it. It's interesting. So anyway, there's just sort of my thoughts. I think Sam and Colby are deflecting. I think Cody and Satori's actions since speak volumes. I think people like Exploring with Josh questioning it, Sam and Colby questioning it. I think that's a good move for the paranormal communities, the ghost hunting communities, and the debunking communities. Maybe now people are going to be a bit more careful. Maybe people are going to be like, we're being watched. We need to try and be more legitimate. And that could be a good thing. There have been some fantastic conversations these last couple of weeks between channels that you would never ever have thought would have conversations. There are people I have butted heads with that have buried the hatchet in their live streams and been like, yeah, we had an issue, but, you know, he's a cool guy. I've buried the hatchet with people. I've had conversations with people I never thought possible. I've had some people that I assumed would hate my guts reach out and be very, very kind to me. And not because they think I'm going to debunk them, because I've never touched their channels, just because they want to reach out. I have seen channels that people tell me are at war, reaching out to each other, and that is great. There's a lot of people saying there's too much toxicity in the debunking community and in the paranormal community, and I'm starting to see a little bit of a change the other way. I'm starting to see people show respect for debunkers. I'm starting to see debunkers look at channels and people differently. And I'm an example of that. While I cannot stand certain types of content, I have over time got far less personal with people. The ITC channels, people like Really Haunted and Laney and Ben, who are scamming people with emotional manipulation, they will never get an easy ride from me. And if people want to call me toxic for the way I behave to those channels, then yes, I am. I'm toxic to those channels, and I don't care. What somebody described in a few live streams this week, that the debunkers are like those guys that ring up the scammers and destroy their offices. Some people in the debunking community are going to be like, "Oh, that's not great. I don't care." I think that's a cool. So I'm quite happy with people to think that's what I'm doing, because I believe in the paranormal. My beliefs in the paranormal are being cheapened by fake videos, and now these channels that are getting looked at and opinions passed on about them negatively affecting people that believe in the paranormal and the debunking community are starting to take note. To my knowledge, have Sam and Colby ever mentioned debunkers before? Possibly not. Maybe they have. I've not watched enough of the content. But to bring out a video in response to debunkers and to keep it that polite and to keep it that open, there's almost some mutual respect there. If only they could behave as well when the cameras are not rolling. Go and check out the Side Eye Guys video. And just before we end, I have questioned myself more this week than I ever have. I did a live stream Tuesday and a few people emailed me and messaged me afterwards and they were like, "You and yourself. Why?" And I'm like, because genuinely I'm questioning if I'm doing the right thing sometimes. And I'm like, I'm genuinely questioning if I go too far, even though I've scaled back on my insults and all the rest of it. Because I don't do it out of nastiness. I do it because I think it's funny. I try not to go too far. And now and again I have, and I've admitted to that. I've apologized to people. And there's all this toxicity stuff, and then I'm like, fucking hell, everyone's saying shit's got worse the last year, and I'm like, I've been around for a year, I've grown far faster than anyone ever thought possible for a debunking channel, and yeah, Tuesday, I lost sleep over it. I was like, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the problem. And I've spoken to some of the debunkers, and they're like, it's not you, you're not the problem. The problem is more or less in line with communities at war, not a debunker on a certain channel. Some people may think that it's all my fault, and I'm never ever going to be able to change your mind. So it is what it is, and I can't change who I am. I'm an abrasive person. I mean, I've told everyone my work history for I don't know how long. I have always been in the firing line. I have always been in an industry where aggression is aimed at me. And maybe because of that, I'm a bit more thick-skinned, and maybe because of that, I go a little bit harder. But I can't change who I am. I'm trying to be less toxic. I'm trying to be less. I'm trying to be less toxic. I'm trying to be less personal with people. But there are certain things that I take personally, and I have to speak out on it. For example, Sam and Colby going into that house and breaking things and making. It wasn't them, it was Seth. Making that comment about a female, it's like, gee, I take exception to that. Obviously, a lot of people take exception to that. And I'm sure the other ghost hunting channels and paranormal investigation channels will take exception to that because it bleeds down into all of us. One of the biggest paranormal channels in existence have behaved like that. That'll bleed into everyone. That's a way people will see us, and that's not fair. So it's also not fair for people to project their opinion of me onto the other debunkers, or for them to project their opinion of the other debunkers onto me. We're all very different people. We all make very different content. But I am who I am, and I will never ever change. Much love to you all. Beardo out.